Is it recording? Okay. Hi, my name is Malika Albrecht, and I want to welcome everybody to our Thursday book launch. Once again, we have a poet who I'm excited to hear read, and I want to thank Jen Karetnik for connecting us, because I wouldn't have met Catherine Esposito Prescott otherwise. And already I'm super excited to hear your work, but also to hear the story behind the title of your book, Accidental Garden. I'm going to read a brief bio and then I'm going to turn it over to you. I want to remind people to mute so that we can focus on the reading. And if you would like to read for open mic and you haven't had a chance to, oh, Janine Esposito, is your family member that we kept out? I feel kind of bad. Sorry. Sorry, Catherine. We're letting her in now. Gosh, that's, but at least she found her last name. But so I want to remind people to mute. And if you want to read for open mic, please just send me a message. If you don't want it recorded for whatever reasons, let me know via message and I will pause it. It'll be very quiet, easy peasy. And we look forward to having a good time together. Catherine Esposito Prescott's poetry collection, Accidental Garden, was selected by Danusha Lemaris as the winner of Gunpowder Press's 2022 Barry Spacks Poetry Prize. She is the author of chapbooks, including Maria Sings and The Living Ruin. Recent poems have been in Echo Theo Review, Green Mountains Review Online, Mezzo Camine, Northwest Review, Pleiades, Verse Daily, and West Trestle Review. And you may have heard her name in association. She's the co-founder of Swim. And if you don't already get Swim Daily, please freaking sign up, because yeah, most people do, right? I would hope so. After meeting Jen, a couple years back, I would hope y'all signed up for that. And editor-in-chief of Swim Every Day. Prescott teaches vinyasa yoga and yoga philosophy in Miami, where she lives with her family. I'm going to put her website into the chat section so you can visit directly. And with that being said, I am coming to spotlight you, Catherine. Thank you so very much for being here tonight and for sharing your work. You're spotlighted. We're good.
Yay. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, it's good.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Malika, for having me, and for Jen for setting this up. As much work as we do for other poets, I'm probably one of my worst PR advocates. So it really does take a community to create this work and to get it out there. So I'm really indebted to you both for putting this together. And it's so great to see so many poets here whose work I know and admire, and friends. And thank you so much for coming to listen to Accidental Garden. This is the book with my very old-fashioned notes, so I don't lose my place. Cover design by Chris Yost, who's here. Gunpowder Press. They've been just an incredible press to work with, and I'm very much indebted to Danusha Lemaris for selecting this book. It came as quite a shock to me, as I think successes always do in the poetry world. We're so used to a barrage of try again later, and maybe not this year, maybe next year. So it was quite a thrill. I guess I'll start with the title poem, since an interesting backstory about this title poem is that Accidental Garden was not the original title of the manuscript. The original title was An Ordinary Offering. And this was actually a runner-up title, but Danusha Lemaris recommended I switch the title of the collection. She thought that this was more striking, and it's, two opposite things. You don't think of a garden as being something that's accidental, unless maybe you do like this kind of wild gardening or guerrilla gardening, right? But usually there's some implantation of seeds into the ground. There's some kind of a spark with the intention of cultivation, right? So an accidental garden is, it almost sounds oxymoronic. How could that be? So we'll start with this poem. And what I have to say about this poem is that it is written in a form, this is for the poets out there, that was created by my Swim co-founder, Jen Karetnik, who has created 10 forms to date. So it's an American sentence acrostic, and it basically takes an American sentence created by Allen Ginsberg, a 17-syllable sentence after the haiku, and then creates an acrostic from each word in the sentence. So there's a hidden message in this poem, which you can see visually, and you'll just have to get that. Sorry for now. So Accidental Garden. Did we plant a butterfly garden, or did monarchs stumble on the heirloom tomatoes that need pollen to transfer from pistil to stamen? Big job, poor job to pollinate plants without anthem, without a bang, without music, an inaudible buzz. Flippant seeming flutterers have made this garden more than a green riot. I don't know an insect's intention, but today we have bulbs of chocolate striped tomatoes, fistfuls of cherry or grape tomatoes. I cannot remember which we planted. The forgotten are numerous, are prolific, names of species, of genera. Sages say that we all have consciousness, me as the one who writes this, but also a butterfly, a green parrot, an ant, a bee, our cat, and every tomato plant. Who is divine? All of us scattered together on this earth like thrown dice, all accident, all planned, with little more to do than to touch one thing, become another. Okay, now I'll go to the front of the book and I'll just read for, I don't know, maybe like 15 minutes or so. I really can't wait to get to the open mic and to hear y'all read. One of my favorite things to do is to read in community, to write in community, to read in community. I often say that we write, we draft in seclusion, right, in isolation, and then we polish in community. Many of these poems were written in workshops with fellow writers and worked over and over again. And I think that's one of the hidden secrets of being a poet, is that we really do rely on each other to get this work out. So this one's called Sea Turtles. I don't think there's anything you need to know about it. Lifeguards erect flag fences around holes, the width and depth of a human head. Holes filled with piles of eggs you'd swear look like buckets of ping pong balls. One night, when the full moon is high, hatchlings will stumble to sea if guided by moonlight, not fooled by man-made streetlights or lights from an oceanfront condo. They will survive for another generation, live a slow aging life, not unlike ours. Female sea turtles lay their eggs on the same beach where they were born. Scientists don't know how they find home. Is it the taste and feel of the water, temperature of the sand? Some other feeling as yet undetectable to humans, turtle pulse and hiss? When all grown, I don't know if my children will remember the beach where they were born, if they'll hurry to escape it for greener grasses, or if they'll paddle back, or if it will even be here, where their lives began in a sunlit space, tempered by palm trees and aquamarine, where sand marked their first steps and the ocean's howls met their first screams. One day, which may have been many, they ran toward the sea with their $50 size fists raised and plastic shovels pitched like tritons to announce their voyage off to its depths, as if an act of reverse evolution, from toes to webbed feet, from lungs to gills, or as if headlong into an unseeable future, or as if into the adventure of a lifetime, or into the adventure of the moment, into the forever long now, their eyes fixed on the paths they'd carve through water, through land, the ones that call from the soul's wild knowing. So this book here travels through hey, some of the threads are spirituality, parenting, the kids come in here, they come in and out like characters. And then it also addresses my own cancer journey. I had a small cancer, I can say that now. And I'm healed and fine, it's good. And just about what disease does to us and how to reframe disease, how to disidentify in a way. So I'll read a few of those poems now, which I haven't read yet. So we'll see how this goes. A superhero's origin story begins with a head injury, venomous snake bite, a genetic mutation, or a dose of radiation. Our hero, a bit dumbstruck, tries to carry on as if nothing happened, because that's what humans do. We continue because the brain is the last to catch up to what the body knows, to what the mind in every cell screams up the chain. Truth is harder to deny if you start to see telescopically, or if you develop telepathy, an outsized ability like an arm doubling in length is impossible to hide, which is why we love stories that make knowing undeniable. Good rests in one body, evil in another. Powers reveal themselves, heroes vanquish villains, all roles are clear. One body isn't bifurcated, doesn't turn on itself, becoming a mystery for doctors to solve. Find the cancer in the blood, breast, etc. Use XYZ to excise it, and A plus D, or maybe M to treat it, and J medicine for life. The body doesn't become chessboard and minefield, only microscope and telescope, instruments for probing and saving not one life, but many, and the transformations, when they occur, are overt. Never like the inside of a mind bursting with light at dawn. Never a heart expanding beyond its cage. Never a voice box opening to pour its story. It's really weird that I can't hear you guys. But I love looking at you.
You can unmute every once in a while and clap. It is a weird thing, right? I know.
It really is. It's like
Visual.
I feel like I'm in a black box.
I know. Well, you know what we can do
All
if
right.
it feels good? Watch this. What about that? Is that better?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all
Okay.
good. It's all
That way you
good.
can see us.
I'm just happy to be here. Thank you. All right, let's do another healing poem. Okay, we'll do two more on this, and then I'll switch it up. Instructions: how to heal. Dismiss the pretense that you brought this on yourself, that you summoned this from the depths of suffering. Disavow the notion that you caused your disease. Disown interpretation and explanations. Disentangle fact from facile thinking, please. In fact, feel free to disturb your world with a philosophy of randomness. The universe began because it was God's way, the Big Bang, or a collusion of certain wandering particles. You decide. Disclaim stories that tell you that you lost yourself. You were thriving. You were expressive. You ate healthy foods. You were healthy. You are healthy. You meditated. You were kind to plants and animals and people. You loved and you are love. Dispossess old thoughts. Disagree openly, disembark into a new life, disappear like a comet if you must, but set no intentions. See clearly. Disown disease. It is not you. Your thoughts are not you. The scar on your lip, arm, leg, lung, throat is not you. Disidentify. You are whole. Okay. This next one is The day I lost my fear of death. And the title is the first line of the poem, which apparently I do quite a bit, as one of my sons pointed out. The day I lost my fear of death. I made breakfast, coffee and toast. I packed the kids' lunches and sent them off to school. I practiced yoga. I wrote a few words. I know I paid the electric bill. I most likely argued with my husband. I tripped over a soccer ball in the hallway. Migrating birds trilled in our garden, and we didn't know the extent of the cancer living inside of me. How can I say this? I felt that the world could continue without me, the world at large, the world of my home. I saw how I could leave the life I made. I saw the magic trick, the disappearing act. I saw the veil and it lifting ever upward, how eyes could open to find my physical presence or absence. I can't tell you how many hours I played peekaboo with my babies, how many times we curtained our eyes, how we pressed the edges of our palms together and released them like doors flown open, and the look of relief and joy and surprise we felt at the sight of each other's body. On the day I lost my fear of death, I saw a rope connecting all beings. I saw love in the fibers of the rope, and I knew my children would survive. I knew it the way you smell rain before it falls. I knew it the way I sensed I was pregnant before skipping a period. I knew for sure my life would end. And then I cried, not for my life, not for those who would miss me, but because I'd failed to see it, even after writing so many poems, even after hours seated in meditation, the subject of every sonnet, the mystery that keeps the stars apart, the weight of the world and its engine. Put it this way, think of the birth of the universe. Think of how that first light still reaches us from billions of years away. It enters us when we're putting away groceries, taking out the trash, coaxing our loved ones to sleep. It hit me while I was sorting laundry, spreading clean sheets on the beds, folding towels, and indulging in list making, a stubborn form of hope, each word a tattooed promise. The day I lost my fear of death, I knew that this rope would carry me on, would carry my people on. I would be here and not here. I had moved from in front of the curtain to behind it, from doer of all things. I'd become memory, become daydream, become starshine. All right, let's just read maybe a couple more. So, confession, I don't have a tattoo. I think maybe one day I'll get one. I still don't know what it would be, but I'm very grateful I have not gotten one yet, because none of them would have been good. So this poem is called The Tattoos I'll Never Get. Of course, never say never, but we'll see. I figure if I get one of them, I'll have to get all of them. That might be expensive and painful. All right. The tattoos I'll never get are legion. For my birth, sleeves of mythological beasts, muscled gods and goddesses emerging from the sea, an island for the sirens, a butterfly for when I was becoming, and for the cancer removed, for the sick gland also removed, yin and yang from the year I left my religion, the names of old boyfriends of my dead and my babies, written in wedding invitation script across my forearms, infinity symbols, a bracelet of laid back eights around my wrist, one for each child and one for their dad. I'm missing hearts, arrows, and stars. I'm missing a Celtic symbol for perseverance and a Sanskrit word to remind me of who I really am, the self beyond groceries and credit card payments, self of the empty mind. This morning, I saw a rainbow backbend over the earth's shoulder. I would like to have this rainbow etched across my back, blade to blade. It would look over the sun inked above my tailbone, spiraled, whirling, and ancient. I imagine my tattoos awake, animated, winking and whispering on the tapestry of my body, a visual diary of a life well lived or lived like many others, part real, part fantasy, all of it mine. All right, maybe I'll do maybe one more. Is that good? Yeah, all right, great. Well, thank you so much for this chance to celebrate Accidental Garden and to share this book with you. I really appreciate being here and in such fantastic, beautiful, supportive company. Thank you. All right, this last one I'll do is called Earrings. And this one was written after a trip to South India in 2019. I met an artist at Oroville in southern India, and she creates jewelry from found objects in her garden. So things you would suspect, like rocks, and but also like insect wings and random things. It was really quite a beautiful, a quick experience, but a beautiful experience. And I've told you the whole poem basically, but I'll read it anyway. Earrings. 3 hoops twirl like a mini galaxy, orbiting an unseen star, orbiting each other. Their distances determined by an artist's hand. Hands that strung seeds from an acacia tree, dried and dyed shades of brown. Hands that curved metal into circles like ellipses. Hands that took what was given and transformed it, that dare to find another expression for things already wrought with beauty. The starshine metal, the seeds charged with genetic codes, with the energy to grow 1,000 lives, forests of trees, every cell a library, every cell a map of what could be, with the right amalgam of water, soil, and light. My oldest son leaves for college this fall. A woman in India makes copies of the earrings using seeds from her garden. She creates jewelry from fallen butterfly wings, from seeds and leaves, from what she finds in the shadow of her guru. She knows something of truth and beauty. Her work is almost as difficult to come by as a poem, as impossible to recreate as a seed becoming a certain tree, an egg into that human, minutes into one lifetime. Thank you so much.
Y'all can all unmute. Holy smokes, Catherine. When you see this chat section, you're going to understand what we were going through on this end.
Oh,
I mean, I just have to read some of what people said. Yeah, ravishing, Catherine, and your voice is perfect for your poems. It's such a joy to hear you read these poems. That was from Catherine, and Jen wrote, "What a blessing your reading was. Your words are such a balm to the soul." Yes, yeah. Gosh, your poems are larger than the words. They are so vulnerable, honest, and wise. Yes, and that. Harry died. Yeah, love your sincerity and humanness, Kat. It's in everything that you do. I just can't wait till you get a chance to see. Oh, they were just, yeah, just beautiful. Do people want, I mean, I know y'all have questions because I know I do. If y'all want to unmute, we just take a moment to thank Catherine for writing this work and sharing it with us tonight. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
wonderful.
Catherine.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much, Catherine.
Oh, thank you all.
Amazing work.
Yes. I can really understand why she chose it. She was probably glad to have it. The marriage was probably like, holy smoke. Oh, good stuff. Do people have questions or comments that you want to make?
I'd love to see the cover of your book. Thank you. Again, I know you showed
Can you
it
see it?
at the beginning, but
Oh,
yes,
that's nice.
lovely.
Oh, it's
Thank-
beautiful. Yeah, Chris did a gorgeous job with this photo.
Yeah.
And I did a direct link to where to order it from Gunpowder Press. I'm going to put that in there again. Catherine, can people get
Yeah.
a signed copy directly from you? And if so, how could they reach out to you?
Sure. Can I just put my email in the chat? Is that fine?
Perfect. That would be
Okay.
perfect. And I did have your website in here, so I'll put that in again.
Yeah, and that's a way too, but this way everyone just has the direct.
Perfect. That's better. And that way, if you want a signed copy, which I do, we can reach out directly.
Yeah, thank you. Here it is.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's perfect.
You know, your poems are not just momentary. Your poems open up this whole landscape. Just hearing, you read them. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
I think a lot
Thank
of us
you.
put
It's very kind.
about the wise woman speaking, because there just seemed like so many lines that I wanted to sit with, and then there'd be another one I was like, holy cow. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's almost for a moment as you were reading, I almost missed the the musicality. Like, these are well crafted poems that are profound, and to see it all together, it was pretty overwhelming.
Mhm.
You know, it was to me, I was like, I would get caught up in the musicality, and then suddenly there'd be something profound that I had to write down. I'm like, quick, write that down. Oh,
Yeah, that's kind of a risk, right? To play with music in your poems. But for me, it's really important that the poem has a sonic shape
I
as
love
well
it.
as a
Yeah.
physical shape. Mm.
I could, it's fabulous because you can hear it, you can feel it, and that sonic structure, that sonic architecture is powerful too. So I mean, it really works so well together. Yeah, Regina said your voice is so comforting, so zen. Yeah, it's not a surprise that yoga. Lots of quiet. Okay. MB said this collection seems so perfectly timed in your life and in ours. Lots of quiet meditations. Love you. Aw.
Mm.
So, speaking of that, so, it's something you consciously do. How does that process work for you? What's your writing process like, and what's your editing process like? Just wanted to hear more about that.
It's always, I love asking this question, and I find it so difficult to answer
Right?
because I'm not an everyday kind of girl when it comes to writing. Normally I'd write at least once a week. But as a mom of 3 kids, we're slowly leaving the nest. It was just really hard to find the time, in a structured kind of way. But I would try to get to write at least once a week, and write in a journal every day is kind of my normal process. And then a lot of editing is, and sometimes writing is done in groups, right? In some writing groups that I've been lucky enough to be a part of. And then the editing is like the harder step and the next step. And sometimes that's done in community. I work often with my swim editors. They've seen a lot of the work, and they've given feedback on a lot of the work. And I think that when we're lucky enough to work in community like this, it makes our work stronger. So many times, Jen or Mary or Carrie or Alex would see something in a piece that I could not have seen yet. It's like having extra eyes and extra ears and so many more brains, I guess, on the work itself. So usually my process is to write either in community or alone, and then to share the work with others, and then refine it as much as I can. And then other times, the work is not seen and it doesn't come out, and it hides for a while. The title, the first title poem in the collection, I didn't read today, but that was actually a poem that was in a virtual stack of poems on the computer, and I pulled it out of the rubbish pile, so to speak, and then sent it out. Yeah, sometimes you write something and you think it's just junk, and then you show it to a friend and they say, no, not quite junk.
I know.
Do you think that community is everything, and that, you know, being in a writer's group really does bring that synergy and help push us. And it is funny sometimes the things that we put in a trash pile and then go back and somebody says, no, I actually like that, or it fills out a collection you're working on.
Yeah, I call
I
it like
don't-
poem dysmorphic disorder. Like sometimes we can't see the value in our own work, you know?
Yeah, true. And I like that title.
No,
We write to know what time it is. Yes, this is from MB. So many of your poems announce this. Can you speak to that more, MB? Unmute, if you would. I don't see where you are now.
Can
Oh,
figure
yeah.
it out. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're
Oh
good.
yeah, hi.
Yes. I feel like so many of Catherine's poems are so timely, not just in her personal life, but in ours as well. Sort of a chronicle of what's going on around us. So it's, I want to say, you know, it has a healing effect, but that sounds a little bit too cliche.
I think that resonates, though, because I saw quite a few people saying just that in the chat section, that there was something redemptive, healing, transformative. There's a sense of the being very grounded in our humanness, but also this wise woman talking. So I think you're kind of hitting on something that was resonating in a lot of people's comments in the chat section. So Catherine, you'll be seeing all that. Yeah.
By the way, that's Emily Dickinson's, not mine. We write to know what time it is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Did I miss any questions that y'all had for Catherine? Nope. Oh, yes, Mary, unmute and we'd love to hear it.
So every time Catherine reads, I hear this a similar sort of vein of commenting about a kind of, you know, profound insight into the human condition. And so my question is, Catherine, have you noticed as your own spirituality has evolved, how has your work changed? And when you look back at earlier works, what sorts of shifts do you see?
Oh, that's a really good question, Mary.
Thanks.
And maybe also impossible to answer. I think that a few things have happened, at least to me. One is that my vantage point has shifted. It's become it's like an aperture, you know, and I kind of started here, and then you go through these difficult experiences, whether it's sickness or, you know, or divorce or what have you, and you can fight to remain like this, or you can start to open and open and open and open. And I think spiritual practices do the same thing. Essentially, you're releasing the ego, and when you start to shed those identifications, those things that we hold on to, I think there's just this expansiveness and this opening. So somehow this comes into the work, right? As it filters through consciousness, the work can't help but be infused by it. So I think that's what happened in this book or with this collection. And you know, I don't write with irony. It's not me. And I don't know, sometimes you worry about putting it all out there in this way. You know, is it too vulnerable? Is it too honest? Sometimes you feel like you can kind of go a little bit too far, but it was just what came out of all of my experiences. This book is just what happened, and I think a lot of times we write the work that we need to read or that we need to hear. And for me, part of this, I don't write to heal, but I feel like part of this, the journey of this book was a healing journey of sorts.
I'm so glad you asked that question, and I love that answer. No, I think that the authenticity is what a lot of us are responding to, Catherine. So I you know, admire the vulnerability with that. Yep. Fetter the form and you unfetter the unconscious, Buddhist concept. By writing in forms, we find ourselves, answering to the forms and unleashing our unconscious. Yeah. And Judy said that is a great answer. Yeah, I agree. That's awesome. Any more questions? Did I miss anything in the chat section? No? All right, well, we can just say thank you so much to Catherine, and we will move towards open mic. Thank you.
Thank you. Can't wait to hear. Thank you so much.
Whew. It's gonna take me a minute. All right, open mic. If again, just a reminder that if you want me to pause the recording, just let me know. Starting with you, Christy. So I'm coming your way, and you are unmuted. Oh, hang on. What technical to see I am flustered. Ah, that was so fabulous. There you go, Christy.
Okay, I'm going to start with a short one tonight. This is in my current chapbook, Finding Her, and this is called Gilded Cage. Pretty once, fill space, false light blurs clear doors, illumes knobs that will not turn. Thank you.
I love that. Knobs that will not turn. Thank you, Christy. Coming to the fire girl now, Regina. Gotcha.
All right. Okay. You can hear me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So everybody knows it's National Poetry Month. And I said I can't leave National Poetry Month without doing a little bit of Ars Poetica. This is actually the first one I ever wrote. I wrote it based on a prompt in a writing group. And it is entitled Urgency of B. How do I start an urgency just to be admonished to be? Society dictates, people dictate, the God stretched across my skyline dictates that most often being is not enough. So this seeps into my protest and prophecy. My poetry wires me to create raucous thunder and piercing lightning and floods of nearing doom. Most often a mission, sometimes a haunting moan, an emotional meandering, a point of pain, a path of correction, a pantheon of purpose, poem. A take heed, my people, or look up and live, my loves, poem. Yet sometimes there, in wee hours, lives a pause and message, call, herald. Sometimes the poetry appears as vanity in my sleep, yearning to preen in daylight and night before the darkest hours. I zero in on an image, first cloudy, then breaking, face as gold, lips as blood, hair as streams of midnight, images coming through, murky to stark, longing just to be remembered, spoken of, loved, worshiped by me. I find the legacies in my mind, wrap them in freedom or form, allow rhyme to leave or flow, build the mood in the memory, attach words of fleshly definition, sing phrases together, repeat them throughout the day, not to teach, but to remember, this is my way. This is my way, the only way I know, the only way that feels real and true to me. For I've never really found yet how to write in a continuum of meaning other than be, unless divinely inspired by morning visitors that give me inspiration and rest, poems to watch over me again and again.
Oh, Regina, look up and live, my loves. Gorgeous. Wow, I do love this open mic. Judy, yay, I'm coming to you. Here we go. Oh, make sure you unmute.
I do need to remember that, and so often don't. I said I think I'll read a poem from my 5th book, Groaning and Singing, which came out last year from Future Cycle. Distraction. Remember the silence of libraries, of the great public reading rooms, like snow falling and piling up indoors, yet not cold, all patrons hushed and private, the lamps of their minds turned on. And remember lying in bed with your book on the Saturday morning, of childhood, passing through, I just dropped my phone so it would be quieter, passing through the mirror or the secret door. No sound but the faint rasp of your index finger and thumb on the page's corner, and the slight luff of the turned page. How you looked up in surprise at the window's blaze of noon light. Remember on a summer porch, writing a long letter to a distant friend by hand in ink on many sheets of tissue-thin paper, a letter full of delicious news you imagined her savoring as you wrote. Remember the spacious days framed by waiting for her reply. One day, someone talks loudly on a new mobile phone in a public square, and it's as if the fourth wall of a house has crashed into the street, yet the family inside blithely pursues its strident, no longer secret life. Soon the talkers gobble up the universal air. Now there are chimes all day inside your brambly, burry mind that branches and branches and branches, though you yearn for it to hold. Now you dream of strolling free through the empty streets of some imagined hamlet in France or Spain, all the shutters closed on a hot afternoon, your eyes lifted for a scrawl of birds in the high sky, the only sound the church bells pealing the hour. It's so calm, your ear traces their almost imperceptible trailing hum until the air gathers itself again.
I forgot to unmute myself. I was just going, Judy, holy smokes. You want to look at some of the comments. That was amazing. Yeah. Gorgeous. Julian, I see you. I'm coming to you. Here we go.
Whoops.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, can indeed.
Okay. This poem's online this week at the Piker Press, and I've had a number of kind of fun responses to it, but and so I thought I'd read it. It's a poem I wrote many years ago and never did anything with because I got a couple of rejections when I sent it out, and so I just put it in the pile and let it sit. But it speaks to what we've talked about today in a lot of ways. Catherine, I'm awfully glad that the cancer didn't kill you. At 85, I'm a survivor of various forms of heart failure and 3 strokes. So I can appreciate your poems about healing. This is maybe that kind of thing. It's called Animal Counsel, which is a phrase I have from Loren Isley. I forget which one of his books. Animal Counsel, homage to Loren Isley. Someday soon, I'm going off with the weather and not come back. You know how the sky turns steely and you hear snow clouds stop. Arctic winter surely herds the continents. Muskeg, too, finding its own heat from under. Inuit say the first woman drew the animals out of a hole in the ice. Fossil genesis, what speaks in animal counsel, curing in bog iron. Warm speech, maybe, yeasty and garrulous. Call it the heart of the animal. On the way, I'll howl with the pack, hunt stringy caribou down to the blood flukes and scrimshaws. Tundra has its own heat too, they say, kennings from under. Some things nothing can kill, lichen, peat moss, coyotes stubborn. At core mass, some jubilance warms them. They go on talking. Call it the heart of the animal.
fabulous. Thank you so much. Julian, you got a lot of comments in there. Yeah, I'm going off with the weather and not coming back. Fabulous. Cal, I'm coming to you, and give me a moment. You're gonna want
Okay.
to yep, there you go.
Let's see. Okay. This is called American Tobacco Trail. It is not spring, but what is it? Winter's been a time of day, dusk to dawn's dusk, not a season this year. Tonight I dreamed of bright trees, quaking, dying yellow mustard leaves around the lake, a few fiery reds, some tan and orange just here and there, seeming random as in real life. And someone said, best fall color ever, in the dream that is. Don't know who. I thought I was alone. But true, it was, almost shining in full southern sun. Today it's almost March. People don't know how many bobcats there are, he said the other day at the store. They sleep in the tops of trees in the day. That's why I carry a 38 when I walk the trail on my land. Coyotes will kill anything. Big 12-point buck or doe don't have a chance. 5, 6 nipping all around it. Start eating at its asshole when it's still alive and work up, leave a big mess in the woods. Leaves all scruffed up. They fight over the meat. But not a bobcat. It'll tear them coyotes up. They're mean. The full strand of a creek branch rumbled and careened around its curves. There had been a big rain and made a little white water over a few rocks or a short broken limb. My dog barked and growled the way he does spotting a rival in town, come out between buildings, surprise, but more lethal out here, it seemed. I thought of the 38 I wouldn't have on me. We stood silent, listening, his mouth open, his perfect pure white, ready teeth, pink chow tongue with blue spot of ancient Chinese sky dripping. I didn't see any creature. And nothing moved but some leaves in the high trees. I saw no bobcat sleeping. There was just the whir of a power station off through the woods. I guess he barked at that. He may know, I don't. We go back to walking. Thank you.
I keep forgetting to unmute. Cal, thank you so very much. Yeah, you might
Thanks,
want
Cal.
to check
You're
the
welcome.
comments. And just to let you know, Julian put his link in there so you can see Animal Council online. Karen, I'm coming to you. There you are. Thank you, Miss Karen.
All right, Cal, I'm following your March poem with a March poem. So this is
Oh,
one
really?
of my many poems I'm writing in response to Ted Kuzer's poems in his Winter Morning Walks book, which I'm so in love with. This is even after March 12th, 5:30 a.m., dark and cold. Now, dancing down through the wet of the hollies, the pellets of snowy sleet are singing song, are tickling the seat of the wooden swing, swaying from the still of a sturdy metal frame, lightly salting the wrought of the fire pit's iron dome in celebration of flying, of lighting, of settling gently in, even if ever so briefly, even if in any somewhere else the moon may have left only crumbs, the frost may be offering up the dazzle of stars, even if Ted has already said the most poetic everything about all of this.
Oh, that's fabulous. Yep. Ah, that's fabulous. Thank you so much. Donna, I'm coming to you, and Karen, check the comments because they're putting some stuff in there.
Well, I was diagnosed back in 2010 with a very rare form of ovarian cancer, and it was called granulosa. And I thought, what a beautiful name for something like cancer. So this poem is about that experience. And I too have a favorable diagnosis because I paid attention and caught it early. Granulosa. The surgeon described the mass in technical terms I do not understand. It grew inside, quiet as a poem, whispered what I knew by heart. Once it was the secret of me, hidden like a tattoo on my back. It followed me everywhere, ready to show off at every turn. I pray each night to find myself in an ordinary dream, driving a new car, singing with the windows down.
Oh, Donna, fabulous. Wow. See, this is why I say this open mic is always fire. Y'all never disappoint. And our final person is Marjorie. So glad you're here.
Thank you. And I am taking off next week for a writer's residency. And so I thought I'd read this poem that first appeared in Swim. So thank you to Catherine and Jen for this. The artist at the Colony asked me if I'm famous. If I'm someone she should know, pay attention to, bother having coffee with, talk with about the father who raped her at 12, about my father, about the slant of rainy light after you're weeping for half a life and then some, and when, if you leave the toilet paper unwinding from the top or bottom, and what our papa said the 2 days after, and avocados and kumquats and the strange geometric shapes that cascade into our dreams 5 days each year before the equinox. And if I'm well known enough for her to pry open my palm and slice my lifelines with an X-Acto knife, would I do that for her? And have I won a Pulitzer yet? And what color were the eyes of God when I looked straight at him for 3 minutes without blinking once? Okay, maybe once. And may she have that last bottle of wine. Could she borrow a glass? And how much does the New Yorker pay? Do I think they would consider her work? She started writing too. Have I slept with anyone there? And does the mold in my studio make my eyes itch in the morning or evening? She's heard both because she really wants to know about the time the London editor who knew the New York editor who knew me from someone at the Colony or raved about my work on Eskimos or transplants or something like that. And later sat on a committee that judged that really important prize. She can't remember which one right now because, thanks again, she had a little bit too much of my Merlot. But am I that writer, the one she's heard something about, the one she should know? No, I say, no, though I am someone writing, trying to write, someone. Thank you.
Oh, fabulous. Yep, this is why we do it. Make sure you check the comments too, Marjorie. There was a lot of stuff going up in there. Oh gosh, you guys are fabulous. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, everybody here and everybody who read for Open Mic. We are very blessed with the community. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Don't forget to order the book. You can reach out to Catherine to have it signed. Be well.